So by now you've probably seen the story of the juror in the Derek Chauvin trial, murder trial of George Floyd, and how he lied on the jury form. And now a picture has surfaced of the gentleman. His name is Brandon Mitchell, a black man from, I believe, Minneapolis, that was seen at the rally in Washington, D.C. wearing a t-shirt, Black Lives Matter t-shirt, with a picture of Martin Luther King on it that said, "Get your knees off our necks." And it's causing quite the stir. So before we get into this, let me know if you've seen the story, if you've seen the photo. Also, let me know where you're tuning in from. Would love to know what city and state you're tuning in from. So just go ahead and comment what city and state you're tuning in from. And if you're tuning in from outside the country and watching this disaster going on in our country right now, go ahead and let us know. So here we are, quite some time after the trial, and this gentleman who made it to the jury, Brandon Mitchell, lied on the jury form. And there's two sides to this that people are upset about. And I want to get your input. The first side is, well, you have to, Dawn from Kenner, Louisiana, what's going on? I spent some time there. Interesting place. Keep them up too. Let me know where, I want to know the city and state, where you're tuning in from. I love seeing it. And I love seeing, Michael from Colombia. I love seeing our international, viewers too. Okay. So, this is going to be good because of course a lot of people reach out to me. They're like, they want to get my take as an officer of color who did the job for so long, and now from someone on the outside looking in. So here's my take on it. When people are like, oh, well, he didn't get a fair trial. This jury was tainted. This guy clearly was, biased. Seen wearing this t-shirt. He's at the rally. So let me make this clear. The question that people are saying he was untruthful about there's a question that's asked, have you attended a rally of sorts against police brutality? That's essentially the crux of the question. Have you attended a rally? I don't know if they said specifically Black Lives Matter, but a rally against police brutality. And he said no, which is a blatant lie, because he was at the rally in D.C. Apparently, from reports, he was at multiple Black Lives Matter rallies, which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with going to a Black Lives Matter rally. There's nothing wrong with wearing a t-shirt saying, "Get your knee off our necks," with the picture of Reverend Martin Luther King on the t-shirt. There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong, and a lot of people are making him wrong for that. So let me clear that out. Anyone who is bashing this guy because he was wearing that shirt and because he was at the rally, he has every right to do that. He has every right in the world to do that. He can go wherever he wants as long as he was peaceful in that rally and he wasn't breaking the law, whatever, being destructive. Hey, he can do it, right? Now, the problem comes in where that he lied about it. Because had he been truthful about that question, about him going to the rally, which of course was against police brutality, they would have scratched him from the jury. He would not have been selected. Okay, so Now, in jury selection, both attorneys get to ask questions of potential jurors. Now, what hasn't come out yet are the answers he gave to those attorneys during the jury selection, which supposedly is coming out right now. And they're going to now see what answers he gave that also may have been untruthful. So he's probably not in a good place. Let's back up and ask the question. First question is, a lot of people who are like, well, the cop was a dirty cop, he deserves to be in jail. I don't know if anyone disagrees with that. I think I haven't met anyone, personally, I've not met anyone that says that that cop was not a bad cop and does not deserve to be in jail. He does. However, he did deserve a fair trial. Everyone deserves a fair trial. And to the people who are saying, nah, screw that guy, he didn't deserve, listen, if it were you, you'd want a fair trial. So let's be reasonable here. Let's use our head. Let's take emotion out of it. If you were being charged with murder, and let's say, whatever, you did it. You did it. Maybe you didn't do it. Who knows? Whatever. But either way, you'd want a fair trial. You wouldn't want a juror on there that somehow, some way had a bias against you right out of the gate because you knew that that person now is automatically going to could potentially sway the decision. So you wouldn't want that for you. So you shouldn't say you want that for someone else. If you say you want that for someone else, you're not a good person. Because you wouldn't say, I want that on my trial. No, you wouldn't. You would want everyone to be unbiased. That said, people are saying the trial should have taken place in a different venue. There should have been a change of venue. I believe that Derek Chauvin's attorney asked for that, but it wasn't granted. Now, in this day and age, let me address that for the people who don't know. So that the request is put in for a change of venue to get it out of the area in which the incident occurred. But this was such a global story. You could have taken this story out of the country, this trial out of the country. People around the world knew this story. People in other countries were marching with pictures of George Floyd on their t-shirt. So it would have been really, really hard to go somewhere. I mean, you'd have to go somewhere where there's no TV, no internet, no nothing, and then try to have this trial. It's just not real, right? So the people who are saying, oh, they should have had it in a different venue. You could have brought that trial to any state. You could have taken that trial across to the other side of the country. The same thing was going to happen. You're going to have jurors that were somehow, some way watching the media, watching the news, watching social media, and had already formed some sort of bias, okay? Because if you're watching the news and the, social media and everything for months and months and months, because they were just shoving this story in your face, and then watching the video, you kind of already have your mind made up. I mean, they say come in with an open mind and let both attorneys put forth the facts, but we all know, come on. We all know. We all saw what happened, okay? So, yeah, he was probably going to jail anyway. He was probably going to be found guilty anyway. But the question is, does that matter? Does that matter when you're talking about someone spending the rest of their life in jail? And I think the reality is, if it were me, if it were you, it would matter. We can all, because we're not involved in that trial, say, well, it doesn't matter. He was going to be found guilty anyway. He's a dirty cop. He's a POS. He killed the guy. But I don't know. I don't know. You gotta, like, fair's fair. Fair is fair. We can't say that it's okay for him to have had a tainted jury, but we would want a clean jury. We would want completely unbiased. We want a fair trial. But screw that guy. He was going to be found guilty anyway. Well, if you ask him, he's probably going to say, well, this isn't a fair trial. I didn't get a fair shake. Right? And he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Right now, the evidence shows that he didn't get a fair shake. He had a guy in the jury that lied, blatantly lied, and clearly had a bias. I mean, it's one thing to go to a rally. It's one thing to support people of color and things like that. But then there's putting on the t-shirt. And then there's taking it to the next level. Which nothing's wrong with that. He just lied about it. I don't know why, if you know you've been to rallies against police brutality, you know you were walking around that rally with a t-shirt on that said, not Black Lives Matter, but get your knee off our necks. Exactly what happened to George Floyd, right? And not Breonna Taylor, or not Philando Castile. No. Get your knee off our necks. It's exactly what happened to George Floyd. That's the t-shirt he was wearing. Did he not think, this gentleman, Brandon Mitchell, did he not think that there were people there with photographs and video and all this stuff? Hell, he posed for a photograph, and that's the photograph that was leaked. He posed for it. So he knew there was photos of him wearing that t-shirt. Did he think that it wasn't going to come out? So, shame on him. He should have just been truthful. Should have just been truthful and said, listen, I've been to rallies. I've worn the t-shirt. I've held the sign. That's what I support. It is what it is. That's who I am. But to have that specific shirt on is a major, major issue for him. Once again, I don't know if anyone here is saying Chauvin should have been found innocent. I don't think anyone's saying that. I don't think anyone is saying in any capacity that that man should not be in jail for murder. That's not the question. I think myself and everyone watching this, for the most part, believes that. I know there's some rogue people out there who maybe feel otherwise, but they're on the fringe, right? Should be in jail. And he was going to be found guilty, no matter who was on the trial. But once again, on the jury. But that's easy for us to say. Well, he's going to be found guilty anyway. So what's it matter? What's it matter? Well, it matters to the guy who was found guilty and is going to jail for the rest of their life. It matters to him. It matters to his family. So no one is saying he is innocent by any means. No one's saying he's innocent. But there are people who are saying he didn't get a fair trial, and they're not wrong. Because right now, based on what we're learning, he did not get a fair trial. And everyone has the right to a fair trial. A fair and impartial jury of their peers. And this man, Brandon Mitchell, this was not fair. This was not impartial. He lied, blatantly lied, and now this could have a massive impact on the trial and the verdict. And there's other things about, like, things that the judge, issues with the judge and things like that. And those are all part of the appeal that I'm sure Derek Chauvin's attorney is bringing forth. But I don't know if you can really say he got a fair trial when this is coming out. I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible to say he got a fair trial. I don't want to say the guy shouldn't have been found guilty. I'm not saying the guy should be out walking the street right now. I'm not saying that. But I do have to agree with the people who say that this guy, Brandon Mitchell, screwed it up for everybody by lying and not being truthful about those answers about attending the rally, and then being caught seen with a t-shirt that says, "Get your knee off my neck." So what happens next? Well, of course, there's going to be appeals on appeals. Derek Chauvin's attorney is now saying that this is a complete disaster. This is completely, a tainted jury, because obviously this guy had the ability to verbally sway other jurors while they were deliberating. So, and none of that's wrong either. I'm sure that's the case. We all know that's the case. Juries talk, they try to kind of convince each other, and clearly he was on one side. He wasn't neutral and going in with an open mind to say, okay, I'm going to go in with an open mind. I'm going to hear the evidence from both sides, and then I'm going to make a decision based on the evidence I hear. I'm going to try to push out everything I've seen on social media, everything I've seen on the news. I'm going to try to put all that aside, and let me just go in here with a clear, open mind and hear what both attorneys have to say. And so I don't know if that was even possible with this case, because of obviously how much attention it got in the media. But everyone deserves that. I would want that. If that was me looking at life in prison, if that was you looking at life in prison, you would want that. We'd be lying if we said we wouldn't care. We wouldn't care if there was one guy who lied on the jury form. We wouldn't care. It's no big deal. We were going to be found guilty anyway. No. You wouldn't be saying that. I wouldn't be saying that. No one with a sound mental capacity would be saying that. So this gentleman, Brandon Mitchell, has, because he chose not to be forthright, has now potentially put this trial at risk, put this verdict at risk. And sentencing hasn't happened yet. Sentencing is coming. I think it's still a few weeks out. And we don't even know if we're going to get there. So all the people who wanted to see this guy go away to jail and spend the rest of his life in jail, where he deserves to be, all of you should be upset at this guy as well, because he put this whole trial at risk. Right? So the people who wanted to see this cop go to jail for killing George Floyd, you should be mad at this jury too. This juror, Brandon Mitchell, you should be furious at him. You shouldn't be saying, oh, well, it's no big deal. The guy's guilty anyway. He was going to go to jail anyway. Don't beat this guy up. It was just a t-shirt at a rally. No big deal. No, you shouldn't be saying that. You should be mad at this guy, because his actions may potentially, in an extreme situation, may potentially lead to this Chauvin guy getting some sort of break. So you should be mad at him. Everyone who wants to see Derek Chauvin in jail for murdering George Floyd should be furious at this Brandon Mitchell guy. It shouldn't be, well, it's no big deal. So what happens to Brandon Mitchell? What happens to him? I don't know what the local and state law is there, but there are repercussions for lying during the jury application and then potentially lying during jury selection. What those are, I don't know, because every state is different. Every district is different. Every region is different. So, got to do a little bit more research on that. But I can't imagine it's something that'll be just swept under the rug. It's got to be something significant, serious, because this is a major trial, and that's a big deal. That's a big deal. So hopefully it's dealt with swiftly and accordingly. As we know in life, sometimes people are untruthful and there is a massive consequence for them being untruthful. In other cases, people can be untruthful and there's no consequence for them. Right? Right? DS, you know this. So we've seen it. So the question is, what's going to happen here? What's going to happen here? How is it going to play out? Is it going to be swept under the rug? And is this guy, Brennan Mitchell, going to be allowed to just kind of skirt because, you know, whatever? Or are they going to come down hard and then now say, okay, this was essentially a tainted jury? So we're going to see. We're going to see. But I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Let me know your feedback on what should happen to the guy, Brennan Mitchell. What should happen to him? What should be his punishment? And should there be a retrial? Should it be declared a mistrial? What do you think needs to happen? I think in the end, I try to leave my opinion out of these, but a lot of people have asked my opinion who've shared the story with me. In the end, I think no matter what, you could select a whole new jury, have a whole new trial, and he's going to be found guilty again. I don't know how he couldn't be found guilty. He's going to be found guilty again. So now the question is, do you go through all that? I think they do, just so they can say, hey, listen, okay, this guy lied, he got in, he was biased. So now we're going to give you a new trial with a new jury, and we're going to send you to jail again. And that way he can't sit in jail crying, saying, I didn't get a fair trial. Because you know, if that doesn't happen, I'm not saying that I want that to happen. But what I'm saying is, if that does not happen, this man is forever going to be in jail saying, I didn't get a fair trial. I'm only in here because I didn't get a fair trial. And we all know that's not the truth. He's in there because he murdered a dude that was handcuffed and he kneeled on his neck for 9 minutes. We all know that. But do you want him to have the ability to sit in jail and maybe even write a book, whatever, after the fact and be like, yeah, I got a raw deal. I got screwed. There was a bad juror and that's why I'm in jail. Otherwise, I'd be out. I don't think you give him the luxury of even speaking that, even declaring that, even supposing that. I think you go to a new trial. Go to a new trial, get a whole new jury, actually do some proper vetting, and see what happens. I'm pretty confident that if you go to a second trial, he's going to be found guilty again. You don't know. You never know. Crazier things have happened, but fair is fair. And if you want to remove that question and that shadow of a doubt, you give the guy a new trial. Give him a new trial. and put him away in jail again. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you feel is right, what's just. Try to keep emotion out of it. Try to keep emotion out of it. And see what you think is fair. If it was you, what would you want? Would you want a new trial? Of course you would. Right? A lot of people are saying that the verdict came so quickly because if, God forbid, they found Derek Chauvin not guilty, the city would have burned down. Well, the city was burned down already and was going to get burned down again anyway. So the people who say that, I don't really know if that's valid. The city was destroyed. The people there destroyed it, as well as people who flew in and got bussed in and all that stuff. They destroyed it. It's still destroyed. I don't know if it'll ever come back, maybe one day, but it's just completely destroyed. And of course there is some concern. Of course people don't want to find someone not guilty, knowing that if they do, the city's going to be burned to the ground and their lives might be at risk. I mean, I don't know. Do you want to be a juror on a trial where there's so much hatred that if you say he's not guilty, your life might be at risk, right? Your life might be at risk. You got a family, you got kids. You're just like, screw this, guilty. Guilty. I don't want to see the city burn down even more. Or I don't want people coming after me or my family. Guilty. But I think you do it clean. I think you do it right. You give them a new trial without this shadow hanging over it of this juror that lied, and put him away again. Find him guilty again. And then he goes to jail and he has no leg to stand on. He's guilty. No tainted jury, no nothing. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Check out the other videos, because some other videos I have here on the channel, on the feed, with some other very hot, timely topics. So check them out. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment, share the videos, and this is gonna pass. This too will pass. We thought it was over. We thought it was over, but it's not. It's not yet over. So, kind of like the 2 weeks to flatten the curve. We thought that was over too. Anyway, all right, guys, wash your hands and stuff. Take care.